In this video, we'll discuss question number 5, and that is discuss the rule of acceleration of the subsequent interest failure of prior disposition, and the very provision regarding rule of acceleration we found under section 27 of the Transfer of Property Act. So this rule of acceleration as per section 27 of Transfer of Property Act of the subsequent interest on failure of prior disposition, which lays down where on a transfer of property and interest therein created in favor of one person, and by the same transaction an ulterior disposition of the same interest is made in favor of another, if the prior disposition under the transfer shall fail, the ulterior disposition shall take effect upon the failure of prior disposition, although the failure may not occur in the manner contemplated by the transfer, but where the intention of the parties to take to the transaction is that the ulterior disposition shall take effect only in the event of the prior disposition failing in a particular manner, the ulterior disposition shall not take effect unless the prior disposition fails in that manner in that transaction. And in relation to that, we will discuss the illustrations. So, the first illustration that we will discuss, a transfer arrest 500 to be on condition that he shall execute lease within 3 months after his death, and if he should neglect to do so, to see be dies in his lifetime, the disposition in favor of she takes effect. And the second illustration that we would like to discuss, a transfers property to his wife, but in case she should die in his lifetime, transfer to be that which he had transferred to her. A and his wife perish together under circumstances which make it impossible to prove that she died before him. The disposition in favor of B does not take effect. So, after and discussing these two illustrations, we'll discuss one important leading case which was decided by the Privy Council, and it was a case of Calcutta Ayodhya versus Raldman, and where it was expressed. So, in short, the very decision was where is a gift in remainder on the termination of an estate for life, the prior life estate becomes void. The gift does not fall but is accelerated. So, the very decision that we would like to explain in detail is that we see, as it was observed by the Privy Council, that the section enunciated the doctrine of acceleration. Thus, where there is a gift in remainder, especially than on the termination of an estate for life, and the prior life estate becomes void. The gift does not fall, but is accelerated as it was decided by the Privy Council in this particular leading case, Ajodhya versus Raldman. And now we'll discuss certain reference to some important leading cases in relation to this question, and such leading cases such as we found some important English leading cases such as Lull versus Jones, then Evelyn versus Ward, then Underwood versus Wing, and the Indian leading case Ajodhya versus Rahman Kaur, and these important leading cases relating to the rule of acceleration that we have only referred in regards to this answer. And now we'll deal the very exceptions that we found regarding this very section, that is section 27 of the Transfer of Property Act 1882, which deals rule of acceleration of subsequent interest on failure of prior disposition. So the first exception that we found, it comes into play where the prior interest is void, the ulterior interest dependent upon it fails. And the second exception that we found also, the doctrine of acceleration is not applicable unless the first transfer fails in a particular specified manner only. And the third exception that we found, the doctrine of acceleration not applicable if the remainder is not a vested remainder but is contingent on an uncertain event. And while discussing the very answer into this particular questions relating to rule of acceleration of the subsequent interest on failure of prior disposition, we have to refer the provisions of section 13, section 14, section 16, and so also section 25 of the Transfer of Property Act of 1882. And lastly, we would like to make reference to another important leading case relating to rule of acceleration is the Devalakshmi versus Bishop Khan, that we have cited only for reference while answering this particular question. So, in this particular question regarding it answers, we have discussed the very provision of section 27 of Transfer of Property Act 1882 relating to rule of acceleration, and these two important illustrations and one important leading case which was decided by the Privy Council, and also some important leading cases of English law, and those three important exceptions that we found the relating to rule of acceleration should show the provisions which are to be discussed in section 13, section 14, section 16, and section 25 while discussing the very answer in relation to section 27. So one can make only the reference of these sections while answering the particular question relating to rule of acceleration of the subsequent interest on failure of prior disposition. And lastly, I would like to request to refer another important leading case, that is Devalakshmi versus Bishop Khan, in relation to this answer. So, in our next upcoming video, we will discuss question number 6, and that question number 6 is discuss the statement that the foundation of the doctrine of election is that no one can appropriate and reprobate at the same time, and which is provided under section 35 of the Transfer of Property Act of 1882, and that we'll discuss in our upcoming video.